Can you guys hear me okay? I'm doing a YouTube live by myself. If anybody's ever been on my YouTube lives or Facebook lives, I usually have a team. One person's working with me, handling the chats. Another person's making sure the lighting is okay. Another person's doing things. So this will be a little bit different. So bear with me. I'm not really sure how to see the chats. I'm practicing social distancing, right? I hope you are too. Anyway, good to see you guys. I'm a little nervous, but yeah, I'm cool. I got this, right? I just some things I want to go over with you. I believe it's going to be transformational for you. Transformational. So one of the first things I want to get into is I'm going to talk about this idea of work release, right? And we're going to take a look at the old, the new, and then what's in it for you. And it won't be long because, as I said, I got to get used to this. My goal is to do about 4 YouTube and Facebook lives next week. And I just got to get myself comfortable since I don't have my team with me, right? Most of them were Colombia or India. And so now I'm just trying to bring it back home and do some right here in the US of A with you. So good to see you guys. I won't keep you long. You probably want to watch the real Saturday Night Live. I don't know what you're up to, but let's get to it. See if we can get to my notes. I was taking a look at the different type of situations our world has been in over the last century or a little bit more than a century. And it's interesting that there was a recession, this recession/depression like the 1890s. Then, of course, many of you know, like a little bit, about a few years after the War of 1812, a few years after the turn of the century, we run into these ideal of things with Stalin in World War One. Then the pandemic of 1918, the Spanish flu. And I was taking a look at the stock market crash of 29 and what that Great Depression that followed that. And looking at World War One, the onset of December 7th, 41 through World War One, but many had started World War One long before that. And I'm taking a look at the Korean conflict, the Vietnam conflict, looking at the Johnstown flood from a long, long time ago, then the 72 Hurricane Agnes flood. We've seen hurricanes around the world. We've seen earthquakes. We have seen so many things. And the one difference maker, the one thing that has helped people, has been that they work. They're not released from work. They work. And nothing has granted more freedoms and more independence than work. Many believe that it's a magic bullet of money, magic bullet of quotes, magic bullets of getting lucky, making the right video post, but I want you to know it's from work. But I feel like I'm going to rob a bank. I'm not going to. My wife makes these masks as a part of the community, and I think some of her family members are doing it, her mother. Other people make these masks and for frontline workers and for others who just need them. And I wanted to get my own. I just didn't want one of those pink ones, right? I didn't want to deal with the pink one. But anyway, I think I like it. I just wish it was Pittsburgh Steelers color. But I'm going to take it off because I want to get down to it. It's distracting me. And I want to start off with what's old. What can we know about the old? I will tell you that in each case there was horrible challenges that occurred. It was a time for people to do several things, to come together and work with whatever they had. Not be dependent upon third and fourth and fifth parties, but to work with what they had. And isn't it biblical that if a man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat, right? Don't feed him. But that's what I've always heard that. It's not said, it doesn't say it that way in the Bible, but it's the principle is the same. And isn't it often said that gosh, make me forget it. Oh yeah, I don't remember. Told you guys, make me nervous tonight. Anyway, I'll get down to it. But if we look at old, we can see that people came together and they worked through it. And through that work came some creativity. You know, they say mother's the necessity of innovation or inventions. It's true. And I want you to know what's old is there are people that work. I'm thinking about the United States because that's where I'm from. So if you're not from the United States, don't worry. I know you have your own story, but let me use mine for now. Growing up, I remember being intrigued when we lived close to a Latin American community. It was interesting to watch the work ethic. I thought it was amazing, right? These guys would move around our neighborhoods. I never forget my friends, the Maldonados. I remember the others. Many. They would all, they came into the country, just getting there, and they would work 10 and 12-hour days so they can get a home for their family, so they can get things, right? So they can start living their life not under tyranny, not under some dictator. I've seen them coming from Cuba, and then there are others from other countries. It was just interesting to watch. Then, of course, I remember in my own story, I know that my parents, my father's grandfather, right, was born into slavery. And I'm several generations down. But he would tell me, Dwayne, you don't do anything you're not willing to sign your name to. You must work at it. And if I wanted to use the car, he'd want to know what have I done to even deserve it. He believed, my dad has always taught us, no one owes you anything. What are you putting into it? And I want you to note that today, what's old is the old theme. It didn't matter if you were Italian Americans, Irish Americans, every culture has their own story about the generations before and how they worked so that we all can live the way we do today. Even though I was born in the 60s, my parents had to go through being an adult in the 60s, right? With 7 children, not being served gas, not being served water at certain fountains, needing to drive through a state and not be able to use the bathroom, so you had to pull over and do it into a can. And never forget pulling over as a kid. We weren't allowed to go in certain places. My parents would have like the big coffee can and other things. We have to use it in that. But you know what? I want you to understand they had no problem working first, second, or third shift. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm able to do a lot today, things that they would never dream of. But they laid the groundwork with their work. How foolish it is of me to not to recognize that the independence that I have today came from their work. Oh, I'm getting somewhere. I don't want you to miss it. Where I'm going, I'm going to bring it home so you can see what connection there is between you, the work you do, and what you don't get, and you and the work you do and what you do get. But give me time to be there. So we're talking about what's old. Isn't it interesting that during World War II, that people migrate from all over the United States to go to these areas where they can work in the factories. Ford said, we're not going to make cars anymore. General Motors said, we're not going to make cars anymore. We're going to make airplanes and tanks, whatever is needed. We can't afford to be taken over by this country. We don't need to call any other country to do it. We're going to do it. Whatever we don't know how to do, we will do. We'll reach out to our greatest scientists, our greatest mechanical engineers. We're going to reach out to everyone, and we're all going to get in this together. We worked. Today, I'm pleased to see that the healthcare workers in the front line, the public servants, whether they're police officers, ambulance, fire, whoever, stepping up. More than 20,000 people migrating to New York to help out with the pandemic, which leads the world. New York leads the world in its cases per capita, more than countries. And I'm watching the old days come back and the American people coming in, jumping in and saying, I'll do it. I'm ready. And we need more of that. And some of you can do that too. But that's not where I'm going. That's what's old. That old spirit, that old fighting spirit. We may be down, but we're not done. We may be outnumbered, Mr. Hitler. We may be outnumbered, Mr. Mussolini. You may have more resources, more aircraft, but we're not done. Winston Churchill said, you may be bombing us, you may have more people, but we will never surrender. And together he championed his people throughout Europe to champion behind him. The United States got theirs to champion, and the war was won with less because more worked towards it. Unbelievable. You don't have a war to fight. You've got your bills and your battles. And unfortunately, you've been duped. You've been cheated and taught that work is a bad thing. So you've been given work release. You were taught that if you just buy this one product, you don't need to ever work. If you join this one company, there's no work to do. It does it all for you. And you've been duped. Someone lied to you. And look where the United States is, by the way. Let's look at what's new. We talked about what's old. Let's look at what's new. When I was a child, everything was created here. It was rare to see something made in Taiwan, China. A couple of things were, but not many. It's interesting today that 70% of the resources, when I talk about resources, I'm talking about nuts, bolts, and specific machinery to make a car is done in China. Shocking. It's interesting that we need ventilators to save our lives of our people. And the very country that would love to take over this country has to give them to us. We don't make them anymore. We became clever. Someone told the American people leadership over the last 40 years this word called outsource. We were told to do less and let someone else do it. This country has always done badly by getting others to do the work for them. We've got to get better at that. We've got to want to work. It was no surprise that in the 17th and 18th century that one of the things that slowed down the country's progression is this idea of slavery. They didn't want to do the work, so they got people to do it for them. Now, we're all guilty of it. I created a company and I went overseas because the government challenged and makes it almost impossible to open a successful company in this country unless you're reliant upon them. It was easier. I didn't have to work as much to create one in Colombia or India or Mexico. And I look at it and I see today the number of plants that have moved overseas. Ford, General Motors, Chrysler. It's just remarkable. And it's interesting that Nissan made their major factory here. And Toyota has their factories here. It's just so backwards, I don't know what to say. Except for we were duped too. We've got to get it back. We've got to reclaim what belongs to us. And we need to work for it. If you expect to create a 7-figure income and you give more time to your jobs than you ever gave to your business, guess what? It's never going to happen. If you didn't know it, I'm going to make it plain now. You can write this down. When you put in the work, somebody's getting wealthy from it. Just what happens when you work your job, the company you work for has been getting the money for it. Got more news for you. If you ever thought of putting the kind of time into your business that you used to put into your job, you would be getting wealthy. Instead, through the duped, through the fake training, through the fake coaching, you've been taught you don't have to do much of anything. All you gotta do is have a vision board. All you have to do is just get this system and click this button. You never have to talk to people. You never have to recruit. I mean, selling's supposed to be a bad thing. You've been taught all the wrong stuff. And now it's costing you. Now, through this, most of our world has become dependent. We're dependent upon China to even preserve our lives. We're losing lives to the tune of 6,000 people a day. 6,000 people right now. I think 6,000 lives are lost. In 4 days, it'll be 12,000. 4 more days after that, it'll be 24,000. We're losing lives. We need China to send ventilators, masks, because our country was practicing what you're practicing. You want to get involved with the home business and not work. That's hilarious. And the people I've coached over the years said, Dwayne, I want what you have. I want to do what you've done. And the one theme they've always had was they didn't want to work much. It's got to work this way. They pretended to be experts when they've never produced a thing, pretending to know how it's supposed to be marketed. And you see, I would trust a worker more than I do a marketer. And a working marketer is the bomb. But a lazy marketer, I don't trust. If you need gimmicks to make your money, you're going to constantly have to start over. You will always have to start over. I was telling one of you guys recently, you probably can type in the window if it was you, you could type it in. I said, without question, 98% of my business is repeat business. Not because I'm lucky or good, but because I work those relationships. I don't say I don't want to talk to people. I want to be a great consultant. I want to make millions of dollars, but I don't want to talk to anyone. That's a foolish statement. You ought to wash your mouth out for saying such a thing. I don't say I don't want to sell them anything. Of course I do. The wealthiest people in the world sell. The poorest of the people buy, right? If you hate selling and you love buying, guess what explains your current economic situation? Ooh, right? Get up, get moving, and go to work. So I talked about what's old. I told you what's new, and it's very pathetic that we all become dependent upon others because of the absence of work, and I'm begging you to go to work. I have family members that says, oh, I would come to visit you, but you're always working. I'm not always working. Just so happens I work from home. And when you get there, just because you're off work doesn't mean I am. I treat my business with greater respect than you treat your job, and it's supposed to be that way. So yeah, I look like a fanatic because I'm working. How else am I supposed to own a company that employs people and exists in different countries, generating different currencies? How am I supposed to have that working like you do? I personally will put in anywhere from 8 to 14 hours a day. I have no problem with it. I take a vacation, not because I don't want to, or not because I can't, But I take a vacation probably once every 2 years, every 2.5 years. I don't need one every year. The visions and dreams, the foundation I'm playing for my grandchildren informs me that I'll have as many vacations as I want. I'm just going to wait. I'm not 65 yet. I'll take the big grand vacation then. I'll take the 10-weeker. Right now, I'm building. What are you building? More vacations? Newer cars? More jewelry? Are you investing your time and your money into the greatest future ever? If not, no wonder you get what you get. If you complain about the prices and you don't want to work and don't want to talk to people, you should go back and beg for your last job and stay there, never leave. But I don't want to stay there. I want to talk about what's in it for you. What's in it for you? You have the perfect canvas. You got a great canvas. It's empty. It's blank. It's right for you. Because whenever there's a recession and the world goes through this kind of turmoil, many businesses that existed before it won't be in place. There's going to be room for new ideas, newer innovations, greater ways of doing it. There's going to be room for those of you to become the new leaders of home business. You don't have to wait. You can become the new ones. A lot of the guru falsified leaders will lose their way because gimmicks don't work in the face of tragedy the way you would think they would. People have less trust for gimmicks. So, the canvas is fantastic for you. What do you do with it? Number 2, what else? Well, not just the canvas, but the market is ripe. Almost every country in the world has told their people to go home until further notice. Work from there. And if you live in the United States, they told them, we won't even let your cable get cut off, right? You won't get your power cut off and no one's going to kick you out of your house. So go home and work. You better figure something out. We can buy you some time for a few months, but you're going to have to come out with something. When the world heard that message, they started taking your links a little more serious. Too bad you never really worked your business. So when they had questions for you, you didn't have an answer. You weren't ready right now they're looking and you're not even ready. All you know is you signed up 2 months ago. You never took and spent 8 hours a day, 5 days a week into your company. So no wonder you never have an answer. No wonder you're waiting for the magic gimmick. When are you guys going to get the gimmick? When are you going to get this? The canvas is perfect. The market is ripe. People are waiting. What is my answer? What's going to happen when that $1,200 stimulus is gone? What's going to happen for me? It's time for you. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. You guys see that? You guys see that rocking? I pushed my big TV monitor. Guess what? It's time. It is time. Let's go. The market is ripe. The market is ready. The canvas is clear. It's blank. And lastly, it is the perfect recipe for long-term results. Wouldn't it be beautiful if whenever you did have to join other companies, people went with you, they trusted you because of the opposite of what you've been taught, because you do talk to them, because you do support and you help and work with those people that are within your team. They're not just a number. You didn't have your autoresponder only talk to them. You didn't have only your website talk to them. You actually engaged with them. You did a YouTube live yourself. You engaged them. You worked with them. Because of it, they didn't join the company. They joined you. What happened to our world when people actually joined the leader who was going somewhere? Now, they know when they join a leader, they know within 90 days that leader is going to be doing another business because we have a world full of unstable marketers. Yes, even you. It's only April. And if you're in your second and third company this year, you're part of it. You're as unstable as they come, but you can fix it. Please don't continue with the instability and the lack of character in this 2020. The world changed greater than it would have during Y2K. Won't you build something? Won't you make it phenomenal? Won't you make it fantastic for you and your loved ones? Won't you make it long term? Won't you make it so that when you look back, 90% of the people that join your team has already been on your team before. Instead of, oh no, not him again. I've already joined 2 things. As soon as I joined, she doesn't talk to me anymore. He doesn't talk. As soon as I joined, he joined something else. And he left me there. It's going to be great when you can plant your feet and work your business. And I'm asking everyone. They sent you home. You can still Netflix binge and work 8 hours. I'm calling for everybody to take the 8-hour challenge. Our country's in an uproar. We need our independence back as a country. This country, people have given their lives for our independence, and we've given it up to everyone in the world through the outsourcing, 4-hour work weeks, on all of it. We've got to go to work. Let's invest our time so we can be the most innovative people in the world, the strongest of outcomes, the greatest of technology, the greatest of thoughts, and the strongest of MLM teams, the strongest of home business teams. Let's do it. Won't you join up with me? Take the challenge. 8 hours, nothing less. Don't you spend 7 working in one surfing Facebook, asking who else is grinding. Just go to work without getting a slap on the back from your peers. Go to work so you can really see who's really a part of the kind of future you want and who's a part of bringing you down. Take a good look. This is Dwayne Golden. It's my first YouTube live in a long time. Forgive me because I can't see you. I hope we're talking to each other. God bless you. I'm going to try and figure this out because I don't see how to hang up. So if I can't see how to hang up, I'm looking on this screen and I don't see you and I don't see you here. I'm going to get this figured out. In the meantime, go to work. Oh boy. I think I got it. I think I'm going to try and just stop hanging